about it. It's time to discuss today's top stories with Nick Ferrari and Sonia Sodha. Lovely to see your faces, you two, as always.
And a big congratulations in order for you, Nick.
Oh, there is indeed. We're going to be talking about that in a minute, and there's a lot to dissect, Nick, isn't there? Let's be honest.
There is.
Let's get to today's stories. What have we got, Jose?
We're going to start with Meghan. Now, the second season of Meghan's lifestyle show With Love is out, and she's revealed that previously she's been unwell when being away from her children. And there's speculation that she's specifically referring to when she left for the Queen's funeral. Should we take a little look?
Yes, let's do it.
I need my boys. If I don't see them for a couple of days, I feel like my heart is broken.
Oh, I know. The longest I went without being around our kids was almost 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
not well.
Oh, yeah. The last season of Queer Eye, I was away Monday to Friday. And it changed my relationship with my kids so much where now they don't treat me like I'm the go-to parent. I'm like, no, please, my baby, don't punish me for going to work.
That's hard,
such a painful component.
You want that connection.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about here, isn't there? I mean, it's very topical, Sonia.
Yes.
My one concern is why are we painting with limes?
Do you know what? I was thinking exactly that. What are they doing with those limes?
Got no idea.
Turquoise paint.
Good luck to him. Good luck to him. But look, she's talking about obviously being away from the children, and you know we were talking about this earlier with you and Reggie, weren't we? You know, it's hard being away from the kids.
It's really tough when you're a working parent, particularly if you do a job that takes you away from your kids for, you know, a week or even more at a time. It's very, very tough. And it's interesting watching that clip, actually, because I'd already read some descriptions this morning of her, and you did sort of think, oh, did she do this whole kind of, you know, reveal all? It was clear, I think, in that clip she was just chatting about you know what it's like, and it was just something that came out, and I think it's understandable. Obviously there is this speculation, you know, she's saying she was away from the kids for 3 weeks. We know that Harry, in his memoir Spare, talked a lot about the time of the Queen's death. So the two of them were in the country anyway for charity events, and then the Queen happened to get very sick and pass away while they were over. So they ended up being in the UK for 3 weeks. They didn't see their kids for 3 weeks. So, you know, and Harry, in his memoir, talked about how tough it was. So there's speculation that Meghan is kind of talking about the same thing. I mean, I think it's understandable. It's tough to be away from your kids for 3 weeks.
I totally get it, like, Nick, and I'm sure you get it, you know, like being away from the kids and everything. But my argument there would be, fly the kids over.
Yeah, or just
like just bring the kids over. They haven't got to be public. You haven't got to be.
They were only babies. They were only little.
They were very little. They were 1 year old, and they were 1 and 3, I think, at the time of the Queen's funeral. So they are very small. But yeah, I mean, I suppose maybe they felt that they had to, you know, they couldn't just pop back for a couple of nights and then come back with them or something. You know, I'm sure they've got their own reasons. But yeah, 3 weeks is a long time.
Nick, why are we all so obsessed with Meghan?
But, Rylan, you've nailed it, haven't you? I mean, we've all been on flights where there are 1-year-old and 3-year-olds who are going on their holidays or they're coming back from their holidays. And listen, a mum missing her children, I'm not going to doubt that for a second. A dad missing the children, I absolutely get it. But I think Rylan's got it right. Put them on a plane. They'll quite rightly have nannies, as they should. They probably had detectives, I don't know, lovely safe passage, which is what I want. I just think we need to know where we are with Meghan, because I have no personal gripe against her. But remember, they left the country because they felt it was too intrusive and they wanted their privacy. And now we have, I think, is it the second series of her lifestyle show? And she's opening up her heart about some quite private matters. So can the real Meghan stand up? I don't mind which it is. If it's going to be the one who's going to share even more, fine, let's have that one. But then you can't suddenly start saying that we're all too intrusive. It's a bit like the South Park cartoon. You know, you can't suddenly start shouting that you want privacy if you're opening up on those issues. That's all I would say to this.
I just think she's damned if she does. She's damned if she doesn't. You know, if maybe she didn't want to take the kids out of their routine. You know, they were 1 and 3. To put them, you know, halfway across the world is a bit.
But it's very predictable.
There is no routine, though, Josie, is there? It's not like they're in school. If they were approaching serious exams, if they were like 16 and 18 or something like that, I mean, the 1-year-old hasn't got a routine, has that?
Well, they would, but they'd have a sleep routine. You'd have to put them in bed at a certain time. You know your routine of your kids, don't you? It's like, I feel like, yeah, she's a bit... But
I do think where Nick is right, it's very predictable that by dropping in these, you know, very private tidbits into this Netflix show, which, you know, Netflix is hoping to make a lot of money from this show. They want lots of PR for it. It's very predictable that dropping in these sort of little revelations is going to get huge PR.
When you're a princess of the United Kingdom and you say something like that, people are going to go, oh, hang on a minute,
exactly.
was this
and then,
that?
you know, there's going to be newspaper headlines and stuff. And so I think when Nick Nick is right, is they do want it all. They want it both ways. They want the privacy, but they also want a lot of publicity on their terms. And I think anybody, like, thankfully, you know, I don't have that level of fame, and I'm very grateful for it, because I think it's quite hard to live your life with it. But I think anyone who is really famous will tell you, you can't have it both ways. You can't take the good stuff without the bad stuff. I mean, you guys all know that, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I just think, look, let them do what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to do that, they want to do that. Everyone's going to speculate. I can sit here and say, well, then fly the kids over. Maybe it's not that simple. Maybe there's a lot more to it. But just let them live their lives, do their shows, have a lovely time.
I think she's just talking about being a mum. I mean, I've taken on jobs and God, I still get the mum guilt to this day. You know,
yeah, of course.
And 3 weeks is a long time to leave your baby.
Yeah.
So
and working with Josie, I get the mum guilt, and I've got a child.
Oh,
you know, so...
how nice of you to share it with her, though.
Problem shared, Joe.
So I just feel like I can relate to what she's saying.
Oh, it is. I think it is relatable. I think you're right about that.
And she's still more concerned about the limes and the turquoise paint. It's but it's
I
another story.
I don't think she said anything wrong at all. It is just that, obviously, there's going to be feverish speculation about what she meant because she said it on her TV show.
Yeah.
So, you know...
Listen, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Leave them to it.
Yeah.
Sonia, we're going to talk about menopausal women leaving at work. This is quite a big story, isn't it?
It is a big story. So there's been some new government commission research which shows that actually the British economy is losing out on quite a lot every year, because I think it's 1 in 10 women who experience the menopause during their employment have symptoms that interfere with their ability to kind of just keep to their sort of necessarily their regular hours. So it's like any kind of condition, I suppose. It's right that your employer makes adjustments around the edges for you, because you don't want to lose a woman, say, in her 50s with huge amounts of experience. The one thing I will say, though, is that, you know, medical therapies for the menopause have come on so far in the last 20 or 30 years. And we know that not all women are getting the access to them that they need. And so, you know, medical treatments can really alleviate some of these symptoms and might mean that you don't need adjustments in your workplace at all. That said, there are also some women who can't take HRT, for example, because they might have had cancer, certain cancers. So I think it is about employers, just as they would be for any type of condition. There's a lot of stigma around menopause. Employers just making sure they're making adjustments, they're allowing flexible working, not people to do less work, but to work around kind of things that they might have going on in their lives in order to keep those people in the workplace. So they're not leaving, it's not costing the British economy loads of money. But my slight note of caution would be is that there's so much misogyny against older women in the workplace. It's older women in particular. You know, we hear about women in their 50s losing their jobs, you know, because of the perceptions that women beyond a certain age just aren't, you know, they're not good for it anymore.
Yeah.
There's a real problem with that in society. So it's great we're talking about menopause more, but we want to avoid talking about it in a way that implies, for example, that, you know, once a woman hits 50, she, you know, she's got menopause brain or whatever, because that could really play into some damaging stereotypes about older women in the workplace.
Well, these are highly skilled women. They've got a lot of life experience. But, Nick, do you think that, you know, having these rules in place in firms will put employers off?
Sonia's right. Beware of the law of unintended consequences should be the watchword there, because this could now in some way impinge on women of a certain age to keep jobs. But look, I've been in and around the workplace for, I don't know, more than 40 years. One of the biggest and best changes I've seen is something Sonia just alluded to, which is people can now talk about the menopause. I appreciate when Sonia says there is still a stigma, but honestly, when I first came into the workplace, you wouldn't have even heard the word mentioned. It wasn't even considered. Yeah. So the advances that have been made in the decades that I've been at work have been fantastic. Yeah, absolutely leaps and bounds, you say. And I mean, to women watching now, or to their partners, their husbands, the government is determined to have in place what's called a menopause action plan by 2027, which honestly is just around the corner. This will mean that companies that have 250 employees or greater will have to have an actual, if you like, action plan. They're almost talking about what are called menopause cafes, which you may be more familiar with than I am. So they are really trying to act on this. And I tell you, well, Ryland, Josie, we've all been at work for a number of years now. 10 years ago, this wouldn't have been talked about, let alone 20. So we are making extraordinary advances.
Absolutely. And we should say as well, you know, if you're having menopausal symptoms, make sure you do consult a health professional as well. Loads of stories this morning. We're going to talk about politicians on TikTok. Nick, what do we think? Do we think our MPs should be on TikTok doing, like, my name is pink and I'm really masturbation?
This is a Conservative MP, Luke Evans, who is the 6th most followed UK politician on TikTok. I know you're all asking who is the most, or that would be one Nigel Farage. Here he is at work, just giving us a little of what he does. Nigel Farage comes in at 1.3 million. Ryland, to answer your question, it's like a lot of things in life. When you get it right, fantastic. But the risk of getting it wrong, particularly when you're trying to appeal to younger voters, Sonia's probably got the breakdown because a lot of the younger voters go, people who can't even vote, they're too young. So, you know, it's a bit like watching your dad dance at a wedding. If he can dance, it's very, very funny. If he can't, it's just embarrassing. Fair?
Or if you're not very likeable and then you're on social media.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't like Nigel.
I think that is
1.3.
Yeah.
1.3.
Yeah. I think that is fair. So it's really interesting. So a platform like TikTok, you might not think of it as where people get their news from, but 1 in 10 British adults say they use TikTok as a news source.
See, I find that strange as adults.
Yeah, adults. And then when you get to young people, age, I think it's 12 to 15, the proportion is 30% using it as a news source. And 12% of kids say it's their main news source. So you can see why that some politicians may be thinking, and it's really working for Nigel Farage because reform is attracting young men to it at the moment. The issue is, I think, is that there are so many social media platforms and MPs, if they're not careful, they could spend their whole life basically doing videos for social media.
You know these people as well as I do. Look at the ones who are doing well. Nigel Farage, Jeremy Corbyn, Zara Sodha. They're all out there. Do you know what I mean? They're not sort of middle of the road.
No, they're all quite populist.
Yeah, exactly.
On the left and the right.
So look at Trump, though. His son told him, his younger son, Barron, told him to go on all these podcasts. He went on all these really influential podcasts and he's won the vote.
It seems like anyone that's got a really strong opinion about something, it's going to be engaging, isn't it? Because you're going to garner the support of those that share that opinion, or, on the other side, you're going to feel the heat from those who don't.
But
just all in all, it's engagement.
And that is the danger of social media, because what social media can do is it drags you to sort of more and more extreme, punchy views, views that make people a little bit shocked. So I do think you're totally right, Ryland. If you're an MP, you've got to be a little bit careful about that kind of stuff.
I think they're going to have to watch it.
They are.
Our next story is a really sad story. Is it the end of the nightclub? So 1 in 4 towns now have no nightclubs at all. Are we witnessing the end of Britain's nightlife?
We're witnessing
culture?
welling up over there. Welling up, Ryland.
I just feel sorry for the youth of today.
I know.
That they won't experience gay night in Chelmsford on a Sunday. Because it was brilliant. You'd all end up at Mrs. Ram and Mr. Cod at like 2 in the morning.
Do you know what? I still remember my first night in a club. It was a Blue Orchid in Croydon. I wasn't officially old enough to go in, obviously. I don't think the rest of the nightclub was either. But my goodness, I mean, it's such a part of growing up, isn't it? Going clubbing, but also not just growing up, like in your 20s. I really miss, I think the older you get, the fewer opportunities there are to just go out and have a good boogie. So whenever I'm somewhere where there is a dance floor, even if there's nobody on it,
you're up.
I'm up and I'm dancing on it. And I think it's dancing with your mates is a very underrated activity.
I agree.
In the 2020s. So I think this is actually tragic.
It is.
But I do wonder, tragic. I do wonder. So I do think there is a thing though when people get older, you know, they want to be, and like there's fewer people are drinking, which is very healthy. But I do wonder if there's a thing. I suspect if more clubs did like sort of early evening clubbing sessions.
Day raves.
Exactly. You can be home in bed by 11 o'clock. Yeah. You can go home on the tube or on the bus. You don't have to get an expensive taxi.
Well, in your case, day gay rave in Chelmsford.
Day gay rave.
In Chelmsford. We've just been brought fresh life into it.
I think it's the way forward. So I think we should be trying to encourage more of that.
Would you come, Nick?
If they do a day gay rave, I am going
You're
with
in, right,
Ryland.
there we go.
I'm going with Ryland. It's a deal. You heard it here first.
But what about you? I mean, do you not like a little boogie?
I used to love it when I was a kid. Yeah, of course.
When you were a kid? What about now, Nick?
No, I can't dance as I feel.
I think I'm going to open a nightclub for just over 30s.
Yes.
And it's...
I thought you were going to say like over 60s.
Over 30s. No, over 30s, where it's like you ain't got to worry about like TikTok and you ain't got to worry about this, you ain't got to worry about that. And ban the phones.
Yeah, okay.
And just go in and have a laugh.
Yeah.
Drink a Smirnoff Ice and dance on a pole.
Or a Mets.
And end up at Mr. Cod's.
Let's go back to 2007. I want Girls Aloud Long Hot Summer playing. That's what I want. Save our nightclubs, please.
And I feel sorry for everybody who's lost their businesses. Like venues are
Yeah, well, I think it all a lot of
COVID.
it started with the pandemic.
That didn't help.
Since 2020, 1 in 4 venues, late night venues, has closed. I mean, that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think COVID was the beginning of the end for some of these venues.
This was a factor that the young people
Majorly.
just use these all the time, so
Yeah.
they don't want
when
to
I started going
socialise.
out, it was like a Samsung flip phone or something like that, and it was like, you know, you didn't have like
I mean,
the
there
full
weren't even
internet.
mobile phones when I used to go.
No, like we weren't using Twitter.
They didn't have landlines when I started going.
I just we don't forget how to talk to people.
Yeah.
We don't forget how to meet people. Not everything's done online.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
No,
that-
I agree.
You
Sad
can't
times.
really. I mean, when we did have a good go, my friends, during the pandemic. You know, we'd all like have a little bit
it
of a
was
boogie,
great.
and it was
great that we
fine.
could do that.
Yeah, it was fine. But you know, some stuff doesn't work online, and having a boogie with your mates is one of them.
Well, one
you need to
thing-
be in person for that.
One thing that does work online and in real life is age gap love.
Ooh,
Age gap love. So new
nice
data.
segue there.
Thank you for the segue of the wall. Suggests that most people would prefer to date someone younger. Nick, is age just a number? I've got to be honest, I'm the opposite.
Yeah, you go for.
I go for older.
You go for
Do
the more
you?
mature.
Yeah, so my partner's 11 years older
Oh,
than
we
me.
don't know that.
And my ex was 10 years older.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Well, gosh, what do I... So I'm very fortunate in that my wife, there we go, is considerably...
Sorry, what did you say?
I know, there we are. I've said it now, Rylan. I know. Can I not come to your gay day rave?
Oh, that's it, you're out now. You've
I'm
got
out.
wife.
I won't be going to Mr. Cod. So obviously, I'm very fortunate. And the benefit is hopefully she will keep me young. Okay,
Yeah.
so that is the thing. As I've said before, the industry I'm in, pretty much all these fantastic people are way younger than me, my radio production, and if you surround yourself by younger people, you are forced to have young views on life, which is very healthy for me.
Absolutely. Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with an age gap in a relationship. I think if two people are in love with each other and want to be with each other, that's absolutely fine. Like I said, you know, I've always tended to go older. I think that's just the way I've been brought up because I was the youngest of the family. My brother's 15 years older than me.
Yeah, so you were used to.
I feel like I've got an older head.
You've got an older soul. You're an older, wiser soul.
I'm an old, wise soul.
Wise soul, yeah. Well, I have to say, I've been known to date men older and younger than me.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right, Sonia Sodha
And
with your lemons.
Not at the same time, I hasten to add. But the one thing I will say is that sometimes, actually, a younger man could be more mature than an older man and a better partner.
really?
I agree.
So yeah, I think I agree. Age is a number. If you're in love, you're in love.
Yep.
I do think that there are some arrangements which are just a little bit on the creepy side, though.
Yeah.
Like if there were like older men who were like, there's a survey that's shown that I think it's like 1 in 4 men who are 50, their desirable age to date is 21.
Oh.
No, that's just too big an age gap, I think, you know. So I you know, it's obviously, it depends very much on the couple, but I think when it's men who are consistently looking to date women 30 years younger than them, that's a little bit...
Well, it does work for some people, doesn't it, Jose?
Well, yeah, I do.
Have you got something to tell us?
No, I wish I had, but I do. I go for older. But,
Do you?
Yeah. But I mean.
Now
you
you tell me.
Well, sorry.
Now you
it's
tell
I mean,
me.
it's too late.
It's too
for me.
late because Nick got married at the weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Tell us all about. Oh, look at you two.
Oh, look.
Great.
Tell us
Thank
everything, Nick. I
you.
want to know the
It was
gossip.
at a place called Mougins in the south of France. We had Christopher Biggins officiating, Mylene Klass
Amazing.
playing the harp.
You're
as
so
we walked.
showbiz.
Yeah, Mylene Klass, that's lovely. Mylene playing the harp, playing
my
the humming chorus from Madame Butterfly.
Oh,
because
how
when I was
beautiful.
sitting with Claire at the Royal Albert Hall, I turned to her
this-
10 years ago and said, I think I'm falling helplessly in love with you as Madame Butterfly. So that was Mylene's gift. And Piers Morgan
How
read a
beautiful.
lesson on humility
Oh,
from the
wow.
Bible, on being humble.
Wow. That wasn't all that went on.
No,
though,
that was
it,
all we
Nick?
have time for tonight.
no, no.
I think we've got about a minute.
Oh, there we go.
now.
There's so lovely.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
Coming
all.
soon to the front cover of OK.
And you're a bit of a groover, aren't you, Nick?
No, I'm not. and I
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
All
Yes, I
of
know what's
that,
happened.
all stuff about dancing in
I know what's
nightclubs.
happened now.
Well, let's find out because you had a really lovely first dance. It's so emotional. Have a look at this.
Thank you.
just...
You've really got the moves.
I mean, we've moved on from Madam Butterfly, haven't we?
That's a brilliant line.
Nick, that is brilliant. Absolutely
very much.
brilliant.
Nick, we wish you a lifetime of
Bless
happiness.
you.
to parent.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank you
really,
very
really
much.
Congrats, Nick, everyone. We're so happy for
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.